I didn't get into this thinking that I would make records, but the band, you know, we did it organically. We didn't throw any of the press behind it. We just began playing wherever I was making movies. And so everything that's happened has been very organic. You know, if I make a record, I knew it would fall under great scrutiny, and I thought, do I really need that? But the fact that when we started the band, we didn't know that we would be together for 5 years. 5 years later, we're still playing, and we're playing around the world. So when we finally did elect to make a record, I did so begrudgingly, but then we put everything we could into it, and then made our second record, which is Turn It On. The reality for me, though, is that I don't kind of watch the record because I'm not prepared to go out and be a baby band where I'm going to go to every station, or for that matter, an established artist who's going to do all the radio stations, go do all the television. That's not who I am, and so I don't know how we'll ever build this band. Actually, hopefully those who find the music really, really enjoy it, but it's unlike me to try to propel this thing forward with a juggernaut of publicity. I really appreciate people who pay dollars to go see people. So if someone pays, that means you better have worked behind the scenes in order to give them a show. So if I didn't think the band was good, I would have kept it in my living room, because I still love music. So I have to make in a way, a decision whether I make a movie or a song. Is it good enough for people? Is it good enough for people? And so that's one of the functions I have in a band, which is I break all the ties. But as for being, you know, risk-taking or fearless, you know, what is there to fear in life, really? You know, you have to have a sense of yourself. I mean, if we couldn't do it, there would be no sense that we went out there and tried to do it. If I was going to go out there and play other people's music exclusively, that would be wrong. You know, you want to live. I want fresh air for myself. And when I stop being relevant to myself, then I stop really performing. You know, in my community, if you make a hit movie, the trick is to make 3 of the same movie. So I'm not exactly in vogue in my own career pattern. I've not made a sequel. And it's not that I don't think they're good, and it's not that I don't think it's right. It's just not for me right now. If I made a second movie, it would be because I think the script was as good as the first one. And so far, that hasn't happened. When we were down at some of these big outdoor festivals, once in a while my daughter comes on, and you know, she's so pretty and she's so cute, and it kind of looks for a moment. Sometimes the crowd's a little bit quiet. Sometimes the women out in the crowd are a little bit uneasy because they think, oh my God, he's robbing the cradle. He's robbing this. Who's this young girl that's traveling around with him? And then, of course, when she gives me a little kiss, and I'm so happy that we both got through it, and I tell them that she's my daughter, you see the crowd visibly they relax. You know, I don't know what that is exactly, but then they just cheer so loud for her. Lily, she has her own band, so she's good. 2 things are the most difficult for me. One was naming our band. I thought it was so ridiculous that I had to come up with a name. You know, it was painful. You know, and so we came up with Modern West, big deal. I hated that part of it, to be honest. We're going to call ourselves something, really? So we did. But the second hardest thing is to describe your music, because, you know, I don't know anybody, unless they're just a narcissistic ass, that doesn't like other people's music more than their own.
Right.
I mean, you make your music and you do the best you can, but the reality is, when you listen to somebody else, you go, gee, I wish I would have wrote that.
Isn't that the truth?
Gee, that's really good. You know, some people luckily say they really like our music, but you just can't help but make what you make. Then how to describe it is just something that's been very painful for me, because I don't think of it as country. I don't think of it that way. I think of it as modern West, kind of. My family's from Oklahoma, John's is from New Mexico, mine came in the Dust Bowl, so it's rooted in America.
Tell us about the oil slick in the Gulf and your invention. They finally realized that there was a use for it. How did that come about?
It was just something that I had seen. It was a little kind of a demonstration centrifuge that was about this big, something that separates. And I looked at that and I thought, if we could scale that up, why couldn't we separate oil and water at high speeds? Because I had seen so many times the oil coming up on our beaches, on the beaches in Canada, the Exxon Valdez,
right,
and many other spills. And it kind of dawned on me that every time that happened, the same images persisted. Rubber boots, people in pitchforks, hay, the requisite number of birds kind of covered in oil, and animals that weren't going to recover. And yet it was a repetitive image. And my feeling was, it started to bother me, and I thought, we can do better. I mean, I'm not that smart. I mean, I couldn't get us to the moon, but I did think that there had to be a way to bring fighting this oil into the 21st century and to keep people citizens who didn't even cause the mess from having to be out there looking like they're the ones that cared about it. And so my goal was to try to, bring this into the 21st century, and I think we have, and people are catching on, and I'm traveling to Norway tomorrow to speak to the international community. So it's just, I'm a pretty basic person, and I just thought that we could do this, and I know that we can, and I know that we can do it tomorrow.
I wrote up 3 Vancouver connections you may not know about. You may know about, too. One is you were Ray Kinsella, but the guy that wrote the book is Bill Kinsella, who lives here.
Yeah.
He wrote Shula's Show, which became Field of Dreams.
Sure.
Did you ever meet him?
No.
No. Second one, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, the soundtrack. Bryan Adams performed the greatest hit there's ever been in England, #1 for the most number of weeks. Did you ever know that?
I did know that.
Yeah. So that.
And every movie after that just kept trying to write a song about it.
And you worked with Bruce Greenwood on 13 Days.
Yeah.
And he lives here.
Well, Bruce Greenwood, I really felt should have been nominated for that, and I don't know why that didn't happen. But that was a shame, because that was a part that he just killed it. And I knew it was a great script. My part was kind of what it was, but I thought it was an important movie. That's why I made it. But I thought Bruce really did something extraordinary, and the fact that he wasn't recognized, I'm doing it right now. So Bruce sees this. Great job. If you haven't seen 13 Days, you're going to see, #1, a really great story, and 2, one of your own homegrown doing his thing.
And we just put him into the BC Entertainment Hall of Fame.
Oh, good.
Bruce, he's just a terrific guy. One last thing is that I met John F. Kennedy. I was working at KGW in Portland, Oregon. He was there with Bobby for 3 days, and you can read all about it in Ted.
Where were you at?
KGW in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And he did the Oregon primary out of there, and it was an amazing experience.
He lost up there, Bobby, didn't he?
Bobby did, but not JFK. It's
Yeah,
JFK
yeah.
who I met.
remember Bob was so discouraged when he lost up
Yeah,
there.
he lost in Oregon.
Yeah.
Remember the picture on the cover of Life magazine, walk along the Oregon shoreline with Bobby?
Yeah.
Yeah. But JFK was an incredible, charismatic guy. Once in a while you meet people in life, and they walk in a room.
Yeah, he was special.
Oh, unbelievable.
Really special.
That
I loved making that movie, JFK.
Yeah. Thank you for this, Kevin, and good luck with the band.
Thanks.